Right, so we put a bit of a poll up last week asking you guys what you wanted the next episode to be on, and the people spoke and they decided that you guys wanted an episode on the Scania 143. So that's what we're going to do today. We have a bit of an episode on this. We're going to drag it out, get it washed off, and then start to get some bits done on this. So we just cleared off all the stuff around it just so we can get it out of the garage. So this has now not been started for... How long has it not been started for, Glenn? About best part of 12 months?
The last time we started it was beginning of this year.
About 8 months?
It's about 8 months.
Yeah, so it's not been started for about 8 months, so fingers crossed it still fires up. Shouldn't be any issues with it, but we're going to get it fired up, get the air built up. We just need to drop these stiff legs down. We've had it up in the air while we've been trial fitting these rear wings and stuff, so we're just going to fire the PTO in, get these stiff legs down, get the truck back on the floor, and then we're going to have a bit of a wiggle around, getting it out, get it up on the ramp, get it all washed off, and get rid of all this sort of stuff. Get it nice and clean again, and then we can start afresh. Start to look at the door seals that need to be finished off, get back on with the wiring, the rear wheel arches need to be done. I am on with the front bumper as well, that's down there, which we did an episode on last week. There's still some fabrication work to do on that. Hopefully we can get that up to the paint shop pretty soon, get it painted and put back onto the truck. As I say, the first thing we need to do is get it out, get it cleaned off. Let's crack on, get that done. Right, so first start in 8 months, is it going to fire up first flick of the key? Let's find out. Right, so she's up and running, fired up, no problem, first flick of the key. Wouldn't have expected anything differently, to be fair. So what we're going to do now, Glenn is just building the air pressure up. We need to get some air pressure in it, so then we can activate the PTO. The PTO is basically the hydraulic pump, which powers all the lifting gear and all the equipment. So once we've got the air built up, we can put it into PTO, and then we can drop these stiff legs to the floor, and then get it out the door. Chassis cracked. is outside, we can really see the dust that's sat on it. Absolutely hammered in it. But it has been sat in that workshop for the best part of 12 months, not moved, so. Look at that. Whoosh! So, let's get it cleaned off. Let's give it a good soaping down, let it soak. And we'll start to nail it with a jet wash. Look at all that. I mean, the roof is about 10mm thick up on the cab roof of dust. But we have to get some ladders out and get up there as well.
What a knob. What an absolute knob.
still comes up an absolute treat. I'd say that's the first wash in best part of 12 months. And she still comes up nice and shiny. Let's take a little walk around the front. Cab has come up absolutely mint again. Wheels spot on. It's a good looking truck. What a minter. It's going to be an absolute beast this when it's all back together. Just can't wait to get that front bumper on. Just finish that front end off nicely. So I'm going to get inside the cab shortly. Give it a dusting down inside there. There's a little bit of a build up of dust in the cab as well because one of the windows doesn't shut fully, so some dust has managed to gather itself up inside the cab. I'll take you for a little look in there now. But yeah, happy with that. Nice and shiny again. It's always nice to work on a vehicle like this or a truck like this when it's not covered in dust, because there's that much dust on it. Everything you touch, you just get absolutely covered in dust. You lean on it, it's all over your clothes, it's all over your hands. And then when you've got an interior like this, which is all custom trimmed, the last thing you want is dirt all over your hands, getting inside all this flocking on the dash and stuff. So I'm going to be giving it a nice dusting down in here. Some of these marks off these seats. Still looks good in here though. It's going to be absolutely mint, as you can see, guys. Look. Oof. Yeah, she's got some dust in here. So I'm going to give it a quick dusting down in here, and we're going to give it a couple of runs up and down the yard, just to give the brakes a little bit of a working in. May as well just do it while it's out. Give it a run up and down, let it stretch its legs a little bit, and let the brakes have a little bit of a running in. So I'll let Glenn do that very shortly. Right, so I'll give the interior a little bit of a cleaning out. There's plenty of dust in here, but it's come up very, very well indeed. How much brighter does it look in here now, guys? This is the first time I've actually ever had this truck out in the daylight with this interior in it. It's always been in the garage. And obviously the garage is quite dark. It's in a dark corner in there. So now it's outside, this interior just pops. Still a few bits to do in here. All these panels are still loose because a bit of wiring to do behind here. Yeah, we've got to wire all the beacons in, PTO switch and a few other bits and bobs. So we've left that loose for that reason. But look at that. How much better does that look? Looks absolutely mint in here. We've got the embroidered door cards, all custom trimmed. We have the soundboard. And this brings me on to my next thing, what we're going to talk about. Now, what I'm going to do next on this truck, I'm actually going to start to wire in the sound system in this. So we've got Pioneer head unit. It's nothing special, just a basic head unit which will support a decent amp. So I do need to run some new wires in here, and that head unit's going to be going in there. Now we're thinking of putting a couple of screens in here for the cameras, so we can have a screen on the underlift, or a camera on the underlift, so we can see where the underlift's going. So I'm going to run some new power cables into this radio. Now I've left all these side panels loose for the purpose of running all the cables from the head unit into this soundboard. Now what we've got in there is some component speakers. We've actually custom made this ourselves. We've got some nice little Pioneer component speakers in there. We've got some port flares which will allow the sub to breathe. This was basically a bass box which we've taken apart and used all the components out of that bass box in our soundboard. Now somewhere I do have the original amplifier that was built into that bass box, which I may use. I'm not entirely sure on that yet, because I might just buy a standalone amp and just bolt that up behind this soundboard. So what I'll have to do there is basically run some phono leads from the amp and the speaker cables down through this board here, through the side panel, and then into the back of the soundboard, and obviously into each individual speaker. So the speakers will be ran off the head unit. The head unit will power an amp, and then the amp will power the sub. I might even go down the road of fitting some little tweeters up on the front of the dash as well. Not entirely settled on that yet, but we'll see where we get to. So that is going to be one of the next things we will be doing on this truck. Hopefully I'll get onto that tomorrow. I was hoping to get on it today, but it has took a lot longer than we expected to clean this truck up today. The amount of dust that was on it, again, when it's in the garage and it's quite dark in there, you can't just see how much dust was on there, but the last 12 months has built up quite an amount of dust. So we spent most of the day, the majority of the day, cleaning this thing out, inside and out. We've also still got to install the bed. Now, we did have this custom trim, but we had a little bit of an issue with it, because basically what had happened is when we had the bed trimmed, we had it embroidered with a Scania logo. Now, what the trimmer did by mistake is basically it put it in the centre of this section, and unfortunately one section is bigger than the other. So when we put the bed in, instead of the Scania being here slap bang in the middle where we wanted it, it was actually offset to one side. So we've had to send this section of the bed back to the trimmer. It should be done now, I think. He's actually got the interior for my Ferrari at the moment, so hopefully when that's done I can pick the bed up for the Scania at the same time, and we can drop that bed in, and that's another thing ticked off the list. Right, so we're just going to get this thing fired back up, get the PTO engaged. We're going to drop these stiff legs, put it back on the floor, and Glenn's going to give it a couple of laps around the yard, let it stretch its legs a little bit, and give the brakes a little bit of a running in, do it a little bit of good after it's been sat here for so long. So let's get it fired up and let's give it a little blast, shall we? There she is, back in the workshop, looking nice and shiny. Again, it's so much better to work on it when it's clean, not getting covered in dust and spreading it all over the nice new interior. So you probably hear there, we do have some air leaks that we need to deal with. This is something we need to get on with pretty soon, really. Something we'll be getting onto in the next couple of episodes. Just a few pipes that have been nipped and messed about with while we've been working on it. So we'll sort that out in the next couple of episodes. You'll probably notice there as well when we was having a little bit of a drive down the yard, it is stuck in high range, this truck. It won't go into low range. Now, we think that is down to one of these air leaks because it used to go into high and low range, no problem. We've only had this issue since we've been messing around with some of the pipes and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully it's just one of these pipes that's causing that issue, but shouldn't be anything drastic. I'm sure we'll sort that out pretty soon. So yeah, there we go. One nice shiny Scania back in the workshop. I'm going to come down tomorrow and start setting about that sound system and hopefully get some noise out of that cab by tomorrow. So we're going to leave this one here, guys. The truck is down, it's back on the channel. We'll be getting plenty of work done on this truck in the coming weeks. So keep watching, guys. Hope you have enjoyed this episode. Hope you are enjoying this project so far. Drop some comments, let us know what you think of this build. We'll see you all on the next video.